What's up, everybody? This is Moose here from OccupyFantasy.com at OccupyFantasy on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Here to break down tonight's NBA slate for the October 20th slate, second day of the regular season. Really looking forward to this. I'm joined by two very special guests. At the top right of your screen, we have Garrett at GStroms99, former NBA writer here for Occupy, but he's going to be sticking around to be in a couple live streams here and there. What's up, Garrett?
Good, Moose. How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Good to be back.
It's been too long.
It has. It's good to be back.
Definitely. And then at the far left of your screen, we have Boyle at tboyle24_DFS on Twitter, where you can find him with the absolute sick office setup. He's the manager of the NBA content here over at Occupy Fantasy. Give everyone a shout out to him. What's up, Boyle?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm loving the office life right now. I will say that I have to set up my Yeti and my headphones, though, because I'm literally using headphones from probably like 2012.
Yeah.
I can make it look a lot sicker, but I just didn't have time today running home from work. So
Definitely, no worries. And I'm Moose at CFB_Moose, I'm co-founder and data guru here at Occupy Fantasy. So for those who don't know, what you see on screen here in the middle is the Daily Plug, written by our NBA writers Ryan and Travis. They're not here tonight. They might be in chat. I'm not sure. If you have any questions, I will definitely let them know. They write a fantastic article that you can find at OccupyFantasy.com, where they talk about the slate, the top plays for each position, little symbols and badges on why there are top plays for that position, bankroll management, contest selection, and some lineup strategies for low risk and high risk. So let's just jump right into it. We're here till 6:30. If you have questions, you can go ahead and ask them in the chat. Or you just want to say hello, you can do that too. Let me just start off. I'll kick it over to you, Boyle. And, yesterday, NBA slate is two-gamer. No one likes two games except the guy who solo shipped it on FanDuel. But, we have an actual slate now. And, one, how excited are you? And two, how good is this slate?
yeah. So I don't even count yesterday as a slate. It's not a slate when Patty Mills shoots 7 for 7 from 3, and Nemanja Bjelica just ends up being like, what was he? Probably like the 5th highest scorer on the slate.
I would say
like
somewhere around there.
Yeah, I don't even count that as a slate. That doesn't count. But nah, I really do like today's slate. I know DraftKings especially underpriced a lot of players. It really allows you to hop in with the stars and scrubs lineup, which is kind of what we aim to do here anyway, especially in low risk. So it definitely builds up for a good night.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, Garrett, how excited are you? I know, we've all had success in NBA last year, but good to be back.
Yeah, it's definitely good to be back. I'm very excited. Like Boyle said, last night really didn't even count. I didn't even play. I was busy with work and other stuff. So this is my first real slate, so I'm pumped.
Yeah, so you lost your Iron Man streak on the very first day. I love it.
No, I entered in a 25-cent entry just to make sure I still had it.
There we go. That's the first one.
I don't even know if my lineup was valid, but
It's all good. See the first question here from Hog Darks. His thoughts on Anthony Edwards or Ingram, and Brian answers Brandon Ingram. Cool. So, Boyle, let me just ask you this from a high-level perspective. Kind of how are you tackling the slate tonight? I know we've all read the plug. I definitely would advise anyone reading the plug take a look at their top plays and how to play the slate. But, Boyle, how are you starting off the slate?
I guess it depends on the site.
Mm-hmm.
I know for sure that I'm going like stars and scrubs on both sites, honestly, especially for low risk. For those who know me, I'm a low risk player. I go for the satellite strategy all the way. So I'm targeting that. I'm definitely looking at the core plays in the plug. I think our writers did a very good job at putting together who we believe are people that you have to plug in your lineups for low risk. The one name that stands out on both is Tyrese Maxey. Obviously, Ben Simmons is a nutcase. This is coming from a Sixers fan. Garrett, you can elaborate if you want. I hope Ben Simmons is back in I hope he's back in California right now.
I hope he's in prison.
But that allows us. Okay. He actually. Okay. I'm not going to get into his contract, but his contract, he's basically in prison with us. But Tyrese Maxey. Shake Milton's out. Simmons is out. Maxey all the way.
Yeah, and as you point out, about Maxi. If we take a look at the Occupy model, we sort by our value index, which if you don't know, occupyfantasy.com is where you can find our Occupy model. Use over 50 metrics for NBA to come up with one easy number for you to digest everyone on the slate. We also use that against their salary to come up with a value index. And Tyrese Maxey has a number 1 DraftKings value and number 2 of the FanDuel value. So Garrett, you're saying that with Maxey, you just got to play. You basically got to play him, and especially low risk. But even what about in high risk? You think you can play him in high risk too?
Yeah, I think low risk and high risk he's viable. In low risk, he's definitely one of our top plays. He's point guard position. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. And he's a very active player on offense, so he can definitely rack up points, assists, rebounds, whatever it is. He's just a really enthusiastic player, so he can stack up the stats.
Nice, always good to hear that. And so that answers Fat's question of Maxey over Bamba in utility spot. Boy, I think you would pretty much want Maxey over anyone in this case.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Both sites, he's cheap enough just to plug right in.
Definitely. Garrett, Ken asked the question here. What do we think about the Toronto value guys, Precious, Barnes, OG, etc.?
Yeah, so Barnes, first of all, if you're asking a question today, you kind of have to specify site just because of how different the pricing is. But talking DraftKings, I'm assuming, with the value, Barnes is one of my favorite value plays. I think he's only 3-4. And he should see 30-plus minutes as a starter. So he's one of my top low-risk plays. Precious, I was high on him earlier, but I'm a little lower on him now with Chris Boucher expected to be back today. He's still Achua's still starting, but he's going to see a hit to his minutes. And OG Anunoby, he's a guy who can go really hot or cold. So he's always in playing high risk. I would kind of go other places in low risk.
Yeah, good answer there, Garrett. Yeah. And now, when you talk about starters, Boyle, I asked you this question. Yesterday, with the 2-game slate, it's very easy to get different and play some people coming off the bench. Hope they put up like 60, like what happened last night. But how important is it to play starters in NBA? More of like a high level question, or is there such times when you can play bench players?
As we could see last night, 2 bench players ended up winning someone. I don't even know how much money was in first place in that FanDuel contest, but it was Pachelica and obviously Patty Mills. On a slate like tonight where there's 11 games, I really don't think you have to get that cute. There's a lot of plays that are just underpriced that are starting that you really don't have to get that cute and plug in. Oh, this guy's coming off the bench as a 7th man. He had a good preseason. Like, no, just stick to the people who are starting. I mean, if you want to get cute by going as a starter with lower ownership than anything else.
Exactly, yeah. And there we go. All right, cool. We are connected. Streaming service said, hey, you're not streaming anymore, but it just live. Anyway, so yeah, ownership is in the model. Garrett, let me ask you a question, and then what are your thoughts on some of the lower owned players? Is there anyone that kind of sticks under that the 10% that sticks out for you?
Are we looking at DraftKings or FanDuel?
Let's do DraftKings. I feel like DraftKings has that bigger prize pools.
All right, so let me take a look. Right off the bat, Damian Lillard, fast-paced game against Sacramento. I believe they had the highest game total on the slate. Sacramento was one of the worst guard defenses in the league last year, and their backcourt hasn't changed. So right off the bat, Damian Lillard for me. Another guy that I'd take a look at is Tobias Harris. No Ben Simmons, obviously, so more offensive usage for Harris right off the bat. They're going to focus a lot of energy on Joel Embiid, so that should open up a little bit of lane for Harris.
Nice. Okay. Cool. What about you, Boyle? Anybody that sticks out under that 5-10% range?
Yeah, so G just took DraftKings. I was going to take FanDuel, actually, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So Karl Anthony Towns is listed at 4% in the model. I know our people, Ryan and Travis, absolutely love him tonight.
Yeah.
They were talking about him for a while in our text chat going on. But he's going up against a really bad defense. He should absolutely just dominate this, and people aren't talking about him as much as they're talking about the Embiids and the Jokic's. I really think that he could be a good good pivot off of those two guys.
Nice. Garrett, I'll ask you this one from Kent. Is there any love for Josh Giddey as a FanDuel GPP?
Giddy. Let me just see.
Sounds like a fake name.
Yeah, it's almost a fake name. No, he should start. Giddy on FanDuel, I could see it. His price is low. He would be very fitting in that stars and scrubs build. Going up against a tough defense in Utah, a slow-paced game, but he could still get there at that price, so I could see it.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, if you guys have questions, keep them coming. Ryan's also in the chat here as well. One of our daily plug writers. He did write what you see on the screen here at occupyfantasy.com. And as he talks about for Giddey, he loves them. Should get run regardless of the game outcome. And then Garrett, so I'll ask you this again, another high-level question. How important are game scripts? I know we see sometimes we got to worry about big favorites getting blown out and starters being pulled in the fourth quarter. But how are you attacking a slate when you need to worry about potential game scripts?
Yeah, I mean, game scripts are always important. They're a little less important in playoff games, but especially in the regular season when teams are just getting warmed up and just getting started, if they see time to rest their players, they're going to. Just because they're still ramping up conditioning and everything. Some teams did that in the preseason, not all of them did. If you see a blowout game, you more likely than not will want to stay away from the stars in that game. If you see a game that you think might be very competitive and could be a little bit fast-paced, you might want to attack the stars in that game with big offensive players. Like I just talked about with Damian Lillard, that might be a situation where there's a close game, fast-paced. Stars will get a lot more run and a lot more usage.
Nice. Yeah. Pretty much, it's a spot. And I tried to do that yesterday, where I faded some of the stars and hoped for a blowout, and went a couple bits down. It didn't matter because everyone scored 80, so didn't do too well there. But Hawk Dark has a question I'll ask you, Boyle. Jalen Green for a DraftKings GPP.
I don't mind Green at all. He's actually my pick for Rookie of the Year this year. I don't know if that's relevant at all, but I really like him at 4-2. He's definitely going to be starting, or he should be starting, I should say. Mm-hmm. His ownership might be a little bit high because I think he is pretty cheap. So I wouldn't use him as your leverage play, but I definitely like him.
Okay. Nice. Cool. Yeah, that's pretty much all the questions here. So 10 more minutes before we get up out of here. Garrett, is there anything else you want to talk about or you want to show on screen here that I can pull up?
It's nothing that you need to show on screen. Just the fact, DraftKings obviously has a lot of very cheap players on the slate that shouldn't be cheap at all. Mm-hmm. So definitely keep that in mind, especially in one game that stuck out to me a lot today was the Washington-Toronto game, especially on the Washington side. Spencer Dinwiddie's under 5K in starting. You have Kentavious Caldwell-Pope at 3-4, and he's starting. You have Kyle Kuzma, 5-1, he's starting. You have Gafford, I believe he's 4-9, he's starting. You got all these guys starting, other than Bradley Beal, who's 9-5. They have no one else over 5-1 on the team. So I think that's a team specifically in low risk that you can really utilize to get some value and pay up elsewhere.
Okay, I see that. What about you, Boyle? Anything that you want to add or that you want me to pull up?
Nah, I think we have a couple questions in the chat if we want to hop in for those.
Oh, yes. From Ken, any thought on chalk pieces that could bust? Concerned about Derek White on FanDuel. Garrett, I think you're the FanDuel guy, so I'll toss that one to you.
Derek White, I definitely a little skeptical on him. I think the reason people are going after him, first of all, is price. He's going to see 30-plus minutes. He's going up against a very young backcourt that Orlando has. A lot of young guys. I believe the oldest guy they have is like a second-year vet in Cole Anthony. But there's definitely downside to Derek White and the fact that the Spurs love to spread the ball around. DeJounte Murray is going to run the offense. Derek White concerns me as well. He definitely has an idea there for that. I'd say another player that concerns me a little bit, let me just pull it up here, and I lost it. Sorry.
You're good.
I believe. Oh yeah. Jason Tatum concerns me a little bit with Jaylen Brown back. I don't know how chalky he will be. I haven't looked at ownership yet, but I believe he should be somewhat high owned. Going up against Randall, he's a tough defender, and I just don't see why. I don't see paying up for Tatum when there's a lot of other better options.
Yeah, exactly. Question here from Ed that I'll ask you, Boyle. In regards to stars and scrubs, how many stars as opposed to scrubs?
Honestly, it's just kind of what you could fit in there. I mean, if you could fit in 3 scrubs that are top low risk plays, then you could probably fit in a good probably 3 to 4 stars in there as well.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of based off what you can build. I mean, I wouldn't purposely throw in scrubs that are 3-5 and might do good. I mean, if you have to go up and get a scrub that's like 4-5 on FanDuel or something, then that's fine. It really just depends on your lineup construction and what the prices are of those players that are the scrubs.
Yeah. Let's see here. Any love for Sabonis for a DraftKings GPP? I'll ask that one to you, Garrett.
I love Sabonis. I have him in my low risk line, so that answers it for you. I love Sabonis tonight. I think he's in a great spot against Charlotte, and I don't think the field's going to overlook that either. I think he'll be pretty high owned.
Yeah, I think all 3 of us here love Sabonis. I didn't want to put words in your mouth, Boyle, but I think you do too.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. Question here: does Garrett have another clown over under to get Boyle fired up?
I'm always taking the under on the Nets.
He's talking about the Nets thing. Jeez, and Kyrie was hurt. That doesn't count. That's a push.
Still going under on the Nets.
That's a push.
Nets
my bold take.
Worse.
My bold takes this year was that the Bulls actually end up being very good, and that the Warriors win it all. But it's not the Warriors.
Define very good.
All right, I'm gonna interject here. But yeah, as you can tell, Garrett and Boyle love to get fired up. They do this like all the time, and I'm not about that.
Damn, he's cutting us off. Look at that.
No, trust me. Any other night, I know we got to get out of here 6:30 sharp because I know we all got some stuff to do as well. So any other night, I'll let y'all go. I would just go into the other room and let y'all hash it out for 3 hours and get a million views. The Prince says I'm late. Favorite FanDuel center. There's a couple written up in the plug, but any of you want to interject and say which one?
Yeah, Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Embiid, or I really like Harrell as well as a cheap play. I mean, I think he's also a power forward now on FanDuel, which is really messing my head up now that FanDuel allows multi-eligibility. But
yeah, and I was going to ask that because FanDuel only had 1 center. Now there's people who are multi-position eligibility. So how does that change your your strategy towards building FanDuel lineups?
It really allows me to play more guards because I can play Tyus Jones as a power forward.
Okay. That's a great answer. I think it's just I think you could definitely fit in more options. I mean, I like playing centers over power forwards just because normally they're the ones that get the rebounds. They're the ones that score a little bit more. You can kind of squeeze in more centers, which I like, but at the same time, it makes the field a lot sharper as well. So I'm kind of indifferent about it.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it's going to be. I'm really excited to. I don't want to maybe say excited because I did like FanDuel with their single position eligibility. I'm more curious to see.
It took me 2 years to get used to the single position, and now they're changing it on me. I hated it so much, and then last year I was like, wow, like I actually like this, and then now they're just changing it up on me.
I mean, Tommy, you almost went fully on FanDuel. You almost stopped playing DraftKings, if I remember.
I did stop playing DraftKings.
Wow. Nuts. So, I'll stay here for a couple minutes or two. If anyone has any questions, if not, we'll get out of here. But Garrett, is there any last lingering thoughts? Anything you want to say about the slate?
Well, first of all, let's just all have a good slate, a good first real slate of the NBA season, and many more to come. But the plug is sharp, guys. These guys know what they're doing. I feel like I left them in good hands. Just grind that plug and let's win some money.
Definitely. If for people in the chat, you don't have to say anything, but if we could just spam some fire emojis, some occupy emojis if you have it, some hype emojis for Ryan and Travis, show how awesome they are at getting out the plug, their knowledge as well. Yeah, so everyone spam the chat on that. And while we're waiting on that, Boyle, do you have any last thoughts you want to talk about for the slate?
Yeah, I mean, as always, I always say don't get cute with it. Obviously, on an 11-game slate, there's a lot of good low-risk plays. Don't be playing a sixth-man or seventh-man hoping that they see time for something, injury or something. Don't pull that shit. Just stay the course here.
AISM, keep it simple, stupid.
There we go. That's perfect.
Yep. So, all right, cool. So that'll pretty much do it for the slate for the show tonight. Again, I'm Moose alongside Boyle and Garrett. We're from OccupyFantasy.com. If you have any more questions, you can hit the Discord. You can also check out OccupyFantasy.com for the daily plug. Actually, last question here. Any thoughts on stacking a slate? For example, could you do Maxey, Harris, and Bede?
This is me, G, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone you can answer.
So on an 11-game slate, you definitely don't have to stack it. I could see possibly stacking it if it's like a 3 to 4 game slate. Although tonight with the Sixers with Simmons out, I don't think it's considered stacking if you play those three because they're all pretty good plays.
Okay. Cool.
That makes sense. I believe they're all well enough plays and see a big enough boost without Simmons in there where it's not technically looking at it as stacking, but it's technically stacking.
Cool. So, all right, that'll do it, guys. Again, Moose, Boyle, and Garrett from Occupy Fantasy. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Peace.